Hello, this is Keisha Kirby, and today we are talking about hair color in the topic of lighteners and the forms and the different information that you want to know or should know about hair lighteners. Hair lighteners are a chemical compound that lighten the hair by dispersing, dissolving, and decolorizing the natural hair pigment. The hydroxide peroxide serves as an oxidizing agent and begins to release the oxygen when mixed with with the lightener. Double processing application will be discussed, and knowing that it is a two-step color wherein the hair is lightened first and then the toner or the color is deposited afterwards. Decolorizing process is the natural hair goes through as many as 10 stages as the hair begins to lighten. The amount of changes depends on how much pigment the hair has, the strength of the lightening product, and the length of time the hair is processed. Again, the hair will go into 10 degrees of natural hair decolorization. As you look at the chart, it goes from a dark red brown all the way up to a pale yellow. Coloring pigment is the varying degrees of warmth exposed during the lightening process. First, the hair is going to decolorize to the appropriate level. Second, a new color is applied to the artificial color that is added. Lightening to the correct stage is essential to a beautiful, controlled, desired result. Natural pigment remains in the hair and contributing to deposit desired color. Again, remember when we go through the decolorizing stage, there are 10 stages in it. We're going to talk about your single process for permanent hair color. The single process is hair lightening and deposits the color in one single application. That means you will not apply another color on there, not even your purple shampoo to tone. A single process means that hair color will get it done in one step. We're done. Your virgin application refers to the very first time the hair has ever been colored. And then to refresh the ends is also known as the application of a glaze. Remember, when you're doing a retouch, you'll refresh the ends. And I know I'm jumping, but I have that there because that word is really important to know that when you refresh the ends, it is an application of a glaze, which is also could be considered a demi as well. Double process hair color is the hair lightening, bleaching, or decolorizing. Double process means you lift it, and then in the second step, you're bonding. Pre-lightening is your first step of the double processing of the hair color when used to lift or lighten the natural hair pigment before the application of the toner. In other words, I've already lifted it in the first picture and then I toned it in the second picture, creating that double process. Now we're going to talk about your lighteners and how to use them and the various forms that they come in. They come in three forms. The one that you know out the top that is widely used and most commonly used is going to be your powder lightener. Did you know that powder lighteners are meant to be off the scalp? The ones that you apply to the scalp are the ones that are rarely used, which is going to be your oil and your cream lighteners. Simply because the powder is going to be your most strongest and give you the most power of lightening the hair, whereas the oil and the cream don't. But we're going to get deeper into it as we move the lesson. Your powder lightener or your off the scalp lighteners. They are sometimes called your quick lighteners. and they are not applied to the scalp. They are strong enough to blonde that hair up to what you want. They contain oxygen releasing boosters. They dry out more quickly than other lighteners, but they do not run or drip. They do not run or drip, especially if you have mixed it up in the proper consistency, following the manufacturer's directions. It also will expand and separate during the process. Again, your powder lighteners are off the scalp lighteners, and they will quickly lighten the hair, and they're also known as quick lighteners. You have on the scalp lightener. Your on the scalp lighteners, remember I told you were going to be your oil and your cream. Your cream being the most popular. The mildest or strong enough for high lift bonding. They are appropriate for 1 to 2 levels or lift. They also have to use activators that are also known as boosters, protonators, or accelerators, and are powder sulfate salts added to the hair color to increase its lightening ability. Activators are used in off-the-scalp lighteners as well. Time factors. Time factors in everything. The darker the hair, the more melanin, and it takes longer to lighten. It will also influence the timing, which is through the porosity. Toning influence the timing, and the strength of the product influence the timing. And it leads to a quicker lightener. So remember, time factors into everything. How dark the hair is, how porous the hair is, and the tone, and the strength of the products, and how long you can leave it. Most of all, you want to use your preliminary strand test. Your preliminary strand test is how you're able to test your product prior to lightening the entire head. This will help you determine the processing time and the condition of the hair that will be at the end of the process. You want to wash that strand carefully for the reaction of the lightener and how it mixed, especially noting that the decoloration stage of the breakage before the hair begins to break or loses that elasticity. You always want to recondition the hair, and sometimes reconditioning hair may require prior to toning. Think about the results. The test shows that the hair is not light enough. You can increase the strength, the mixture, or increase the processing time. Either one of the two will help you. You just want to be able to see it before it gets too light. That means you have to watch it. Then that means you might decrease the strength of the mixture or decrease the processing time. That is the purpose of doing a strand test, to cover all these bases to ensure a successful desired color for the client. Remember, a toner is also required for a patch test. The patch test must be done 24 to 48 hours to each application of the toner containing alkaline derivatives. Keep this in mind. Always when I've already done a 24-hour to 48-hour patch test, even on your toners. Because remember, your toners are your semi-permanents, your demi, and any of your permanent colors that have low volume, 20 volume developers that they use. So keep in mind, you have to do a 24 to 48-hour patch test. The preliminary strand test, or the strand test is the most important part of the service because it will help you save a lot of product and money and the integrity of the client's hair and a lot of steps. This is the reason why you want to do a preliminary strand test. When you're talking about over lightened hair or under lightened hair, that is because you did not do a strand test. Your preliminary strand test will help save your life from these type of mistakes. Over processing the hair because you got to pass the pale yellow stage, and you went past the natural desired pigment lift or that desired effect. Then, when you look at your under lightening, that's because you stopped it too soon because you were afraid that it was too light. But keep in mind that whenever you're lifting the hair, when you rinse it out, whatever shade you see right there present, it is always going to be 1 to 2 shades darker than what you see. Now we're going to talk about your retouch lightener. When you're talking about or doing your retouch lightener, the things you want to be careful of and you want to make note of. You always want to use 1/8 inch partings, 1/8 inch partings, or 1/8 of an inch parting. You only want to cover the new growth only. Then if it's a version lightener, you would apply it differently. You apply it differently. If you recall when we talked about your version relaxer and you did a 1/2 inch from the new growth and an inch from the ends, that tells you there you do the same thing. And once it gets almost to the color you want, then you apply it to the roots and then the ends, pulling it through evenly so that you have an even strand without bands or lines of demarcation. You use cream lightener is gently used on the scalp for retouches. Overlapping may cause severe breakage and lines of demarcation. Overlapping will cause lines of demarcation or severe breakage. So you want to be careful not to overlap, to use 1/8 of an inch partings, and therefore and not be sloppy. You have to be neat and precise. It will be a very great retouch without bad. Applying color to the new growth and faded ends. When you want to make sure you don't overlap, again, so you don't get the breakage and the lines of demarcation, which is visible when the lines are separating the color from the new growth. The processing the color according to your scalp analysis and your strand test results. It's still the same. They keep stressing that so you don't get the lines of demarcation. They keep stressing that so you don't get the breakage. And you'll get the desired results that you want. Bringing a permanent hair color through the ends to refresh the faded color can cause unnecessary breakage to the hair. You can use a toner like a demi or a semi-permanent or even your different color fillers to run through the hair if you want to refresh the ends. Remember your soap cap and you use your leftover color and the shampoo or even conditioner and run it through the ends and let it sit for 5 minutes to give that evenness and save the integrity of the hair. Now this concludes our hair color for lighteners. So again, it is your contributing pigments that helps your timing for processing time, your timing for when you're watching your strand test. All of these things will save your life. Look at the porosity of the person's hair to make sure that it's not over porous so you don't cause more breakage. Always remember it is the integrity of the hair at the end of everything you've done to it. That integrity of the hair has to be intact when it comes to these high lift colors. Always remember when you're doing a high lift, you have to avoid overlapping using 1/8 of an inch partings and rinse the hair with cool water. Rinse the hair with cool water. We will also cover this when we get into safety and applications of your lighteners or the colors in general. Again, I am Keisha Kirby, and this concludes the hair color of lighteners.